Okay, this is Sam, and Sam's going to show us how we're going to now start working on our patient's TLSO cast. So we're trying to go from, beginning to end product, and so we're just going to point out a few things here. So Sam's got the cast in his hands, and you can see the point is cut out right there on the side. There's an opening, right? That is something that we cut down that cutting strip for the patient. And at Rinella Orthotics and Prosthetics, the way we currently do this is to remove the stockinette from this cast. So Sam's going to kind of demonstrate that. And you can see how the lines have kind of transferred from the stockinette to the cast itself. Sam is the world's fastest stockinette remover officially. It's in Guinness, trust us. Okay, so from here on out, what we're going to do is we're going to staple up the cast where the two pieces were originally at, and then we're actually going to seal it up and then fill this cast so you have a better idea of how a TLSO or an LSO is fabricated. Okay, so we always have to have it, coming back to the place where we started. So if you can see here, this is how orthotists will bring this whole thing together. So we want to bring our lines together. If you look real close here, we can see lines here. We want to match it up on the other side. Or you can also see why I put markings right here so we can line those up later. So from here, all an orthotist is going to do, this is the stapling process. So we're going to end up taking this whole cast and stapling it on down the line. We'll show you the finished product in a second. But this is what an orthotist does with the TLSO cast that they're trying to turn into a brace for a patient. Okay, so now here's our next process. So we're going to fill this cast right here, and a lot of it's going to be with recycled plaster that will show you the process. But we're also going to put liquid plaster in here, and so we don't want it coming out of our spots right here. So we're just going to measure it out. We're going to measure it out. And this is how an orthotist gets a cast ready, because we know all the people watching are very curious about that. So this is how an orthotist does it. This plaster bandage that I'm putting on, it starts off wet, it's very flexible. It's actually a really neat material, and it can conform to kind of basically any shape. That's why we use it a lot, or used to be used a lot more, until we found cleaner options. And I'm just going to kind of smooth this all out, and when I smooth it out, it actually kind of sticks to the cast a little bit more. And we are now preventing our plaster from coming out of this place where the cutting strip was. You might be able to see a little bit of the line where the cutting strip was. So this will harden actually really quickly, and then we're going to move on. There's certain things we got to think about here a little bit. I got to bring the height of this up just a little bit. This is the posterior aspect of the TLSO. And also where the person's axilla is, we have to have that kind of all level, eventually like this, on a level plane, so fluid when we pour this TLSO doesn't go to the low point. So all I'm doing right now is using more plaster bandage, and we're going to make this TLSO cast level. And let's see, I'm going to do a quick test run to see how much we need. It's probably the smart way to do this. So we don't just do one layer of it, we do two. So we dip it in the water here. We get the exothermic reaction started, which just means that it's going to give off heat, and as it gives off heat, it's going to start to become hardened. Okay, so we added more to this TLSO cast. You can see that the posterior part is a lot closer to the height of the anterior portion of this cast. Anterior, posterior, right here. So what I'm going to do is, we talked just a minute ago about those porous parts where I have to make sure the plaster doesn't come out of there. So what I'm going to do is just use this really quick, show you how it's done. We're going to prepare this cast. We're going to show you the next step in that process. Okay, so we're just getting started here. I'm just going to wrap this up. That's all we're doing. So TLSOs, the custom ones, aren't necessarily just off the shelf and just so easy to make. We're going to just show you the whole process, kind of get in here real good, and if I'm lucky, I'll stay clean in the process. These plaster loves to reach out and grab you.